Congratulations. After years of effort, you were able to convey this message. This message has traveled through the millennia to reach you because God has carefully prepared all paths. Perhaps you are now dealing with financial challenges or other issues. This is not simply a burden or a weakness. Rather, it is part of a divine plan to empower you. Nothing happens by chance. Consider your personal inadequacies not as flaws, but as opportunities for a significant jump ahead. The voyage ahead is fraught with disruptions and uncertainty, but it follows a deliberate plan. Remember that the difficulties in your life are not coincidences. They are intricately woven opportunities that awaken you to a higher purpose. When you're wondering why you're having trouble sleeping at night, remember that you're part of a process that God has planned for you. The difficulties you face during this time help you develop inner toughness and pave the way for greater success. When your weaknesses are exposed, in your broken moments, you recognize that God's plan is beginning to transform you. You are receptive to turning to Him in the most genuine way. This is a transitory time that prepares you for future duties and assignments. In the midst of sorrow, you find the boundaries of your patience and realize that everything is preparing you for a stronger faith and inner calm. Remember that these problems are not only transient, but also effective transformation instruments that will propel you to the next level. Be patient and trust in God's plan. Activate your energy by posting 77 in the comments. The thorns on this route are supposed to wound you, revealing your inner strength and faith. True progress emerges from moments that test our limits. The most powerful force that feeds faith is courage that thrives in the face of impossibility. You may feel compelled to compare your path to that of others, who may appear to have it all. You may feel as if you are only fighting for survival, but understand that your path is a unique opportunity to develop your talents and strength. When God delves deep into the soil of your soul, it does not mean the end. Rather, it represents the start of sowing the seeds of new power. The majority of the most powerful stories in human history began with vulnerability and darkness. When you look around, you see folks who appear to have nothing, or are regarded as failures or ignored by society, yet rise to the top only by their faith. You are one of them on this incredible trip, even in your most vulnerable moments. As a pioneer, you possess spiritual strength. God loves your spiritual power more than material riches. When facing financial difficulties, realize that these difficulties are establishing the groundwork for growing faith, resilience, and trust in your soul. Every trial is an opportunity to draw closer to God. Every fall is part of a bigger strategy. Each of these trials is a miraculous building piece that will equip you for a tremendous return in the future. God utilizes every adversity to fortify your soul, boost your resilience, and awaken you to a higher purpose. You may have a restricted perspective right now, but in God's eyes, every difficulty is an opportunity to go on a journey far greater than you can fathom. Often, the procedures you perceive as delays are actually God's gentle touches, preparing you for moments when you feel rejected. These are examples of the divine plan's innermost workings. Connections are formed in dimensions that you cannot see. Establishing the specifics of your destiny. You'll learn that the moments you're having trouble understanding right now will eventually make sense. Patience is more than just waiting. It is about believing in God's smart plan even when you can't see His route. So stop rushing time. Stop taking hasty actions. God is not delayed. Instead, He is preparing you step by step for an ideal plan. He wants not only to reward you, but also to develop you. Sometimes this growth manifests itself in difficult, deep interior processes in which every step develops meaning, and the lessons learned are essential. Let's discuss a difficult matter: God's method of developing us. His discipline is not a punishment, but rather a reflection of His loving care. As with every skillfully created masterpiece, God oversees the process of releasing our full potential. Think about it. Why would a creator let someone He cares about go through financial hardship? Because He understands not only your current troubles, but also your strength in the absence of challenges. He knows you are not strong enough to carry this calling. Every moment spent in financial hardship reveals the depth of your character, improves your faith, and fortifies you. Your situation is more than just financial. It is simply the process of developing your soul. God shows you how to find inner peace in the midst of life's tumult. To trust Him even when your strength is tried, He does not intend to destroy you, but rather to construct a strong building. Instead of focusing on outer appearances, He instills trust in your heart. Remember, the most costly stones must go through the most difficult processes. This financial struggle is similar to a stage touched by God's heavenly workmanship. Your flaws are transformed one at a time. Bonds that are not built on trust are broken, and your doubts go through a purifying process. True strength is shaped not by comfort, but by character developed through adversity and strife. Discipline has never been simple, and it should not be, because it is required for genuinely understanding yourself and exceeding your limits. During this struggle, your purity is shown. Every limiting idea from the past is left behind, and you are strengthened by discovering your true identity. At your heart, you have a strong and unwavering spirit that surpasses earthly standards. As God leads you through this process, He is preparing to unveil your true strength and potential with each challenge. He gives you a deeper faith and determination. Consider the lives of the numerous chosen ones in the Bible. They were not given a straightforward path. They faced difficult hardships and experiences. God's love prepared them for a greater purpose. You are also walking along these paths. When you confront these challenges and feel like you've overcome life, remember, this is not a punishment, but rather a preparation time. Every challenge serves as an opportunity to sharpen your attention and enhance your faith in God's plan. This process is not intended to remain forever, but rather to make the lessons learned here permanent. Therefore, accept this era and welcome the maturation process. Remember that every adversity is there to propel you forward. God's hand is with you every step. A hand that protects, transforms, and compassionately guides you through every challenge. God's choices are always beyond human comprehension. He addresses neither the powerful, the wealthy, nor the prominent. He refers to the forgotten, the lost, and those who appear inadequate, because in God's view, what matters is the surrender of the heart, not the person's attributes. His strength is strongest when you are at your weakest. When you let go of your possessions, you come to rely exclusively on Him. God seeks empty hearts that can be filled with Him. He chooses hearts that have been broken by disappointment to rebuild with His compassion. Financial challenges provide an opportunity to dig deep within ourselves and understand the roots on which we rely. In these moments, you can hear God's whisper, "I choose you because you turn to me completely when you are in need." His assistance is most noticeable when you rise again during the rebuilding phase. You're aware that the hands that keep you standing belong to Him. He touches people who are unable to stand on their own and require His power in order for His splendor to be realized. Consider this. Why did God choose Gideon, a common farmer, to command an army against numerically superior foes? Or why did He choose Esther, a normal young lady, to be the queen who would redeem the nation? Because God sees hidden strength and courage in what appears ordinary to humans. His ambitions are founded on a higher cause rather than worldly rank or fortune, and a heavenly mission. The financial difficulties you are experiencing today cause you to examine the illusory securities on which you rely in your life. What are you really trusting? Your own savings and control, or God's ability to supply support in unforeseen ways? This method strongly instilled the idea that faith is not an option, but rather the most fundamental support you have. These difficulties are more than just a challenge for you. They provide an opportunity to enhance your faith foundations while also eliminating the transitory securities on which you rely. God, via these obstacles, helps you recognize what is truly unshakable in your life by liberating your trust from material constraints. This isn't just a transient issue. It is a process that strengthens your inner resilience and rebuilds you via deep surrender. Joseph, for example, remained to believe God even after his brothers sold him into slavery and went on to become a great leader in Egypt, sparing his family from starvation after years of adversity. God is laying the groundwork for something exceptional in your life. When this happens, you will sincerely believe that it is a miracle. As a result, God calls those who must rely on His grace rather than those who can trust in themselves, for true strength arises as God shapes you in His hands. If you feel incomplete or inadequate, accept your current condition. If you are suffering financial challenges, thank God because you are on the exact road He wants you to take. Beyond your own ambitions, deep within a supernatural purpose, God has always delighted to perform big things for people that no one else thought were important. For example, Joseph was a young man who had been sold into slavery by his brothers and had nothing. God made him one of Egypt's most powerful men, opening the way for deliverance. However, the foundation of Joseph's success was his everlasting faith in God, despite tough circumstances. God works to rewrite people's history, even in their worst circumstances, building testimonies from their ashes as part of His plan. Shortcomings and vulnerabilities form the seeds of success. These people are living demonstrations of God's strength and faithfulness. You may have numerous reasons to feel inadequate or unfinished. Perhaps prior mistakes or a lack of resources are holding you back. Remember, God's perspective differs. He chooses those who are willing to surrender to Him rather than those who appear to be powerful or competent. God puts even the most ordinary people in the midst of remarkable stories. Because in these stories, the depth of their allegiance and belief in Him is what gives them strength, not their material goods or talents. When you feel like you're at your lowest point in life, that's when God begins His biggest work. You could believe you have no strength or hope left. However, it is precisely at this point that God may best demonstrate His tremendous grace and strength. When you give up all control, God may deeply convey the true peace, love, and courage He desires for you. Think about it. Even in your worst moments, you can feel God's presence. Not only do I provide assistance, but I also aim to transform and strengthen you. God, as a guide who shows your potential, has the ability to carry you from low to high. When you believe you have nothing left to give, you are in the most appropriate and receptive position to accept what God has to offer. Because this is the moment you decide to rely fully on Him. Remember that what is valuable isn't limited to the physical world. You're in the process of understanding. The actual worth is an unshakable sense of trust. Even on the verge of loss, such trust is unaffected by devastating storms or the passage of time. It is a permanent sprout in the roots of your spirit. The financial hit you have received not only shifts our focus away from relying only on ourselves, but also points us to the only long-term assistance, divine guidance. This hardship is more than simply about material possessions. It entails soul growth, mindset transformation, and the cultivation of spiritual resilience in your most dire circumstances. A supernatural hand is always there to encourage you, demonstrating that God's grace triumphs over all else. Even when resources appear to be drained during the purifying process, allow change to form you rather than rejecting the journey. Every difficulty that displays your inner strength and patience is an opportunity to progress along the road God has planned for you. Every struggle has been thoughtfully designed to strengthen your resilience and develop your faith. At the end of this process, like a polished jewel, you will sparkle with inner light and understand the profound significance of the worth God has bestowed upon you. When you overcome obstacles, you will be stronger, wiser, and closer to your destiny on life's journey. With God's guidance, this trip is more than just a test, it is a purifying process that will bring you to your full potential. Consider the core of surrender not merely letting go of your burdens, but fully committing yourself to the almighty power that rules the entire universe. Surrendering in the face of financial difficulties becomes a show of profound faith, a subtle declaration that your faith extends beyond your current circumstances. It entails letting go of the never-ending striving and anxiety, the constant quest and stress. Surrender entails accepting that God's plan for you is greater than your own abilities. Being able to say, My God, I accept your way. Even when bills pile up and accounts are empty, it is simple to demonstrate faith while things are going well, but true faith emerges in times of shortage. Here you see how firmly your religion is rooted. You learn to trust not just what God has provided, but also His time. God's plan frequently tests patience, and patience is defined not only by the act of waiting, but also by the spirit with which you wait. In current economic downturn, your true battle may not be with financial balances, but with confronting concerns. Fear that uncertainty will never cease, feeling ignored or unworthy. Fear is transformed into faith, and anxiety into calm and helplessness. Stuck in your limitations, you must rely on a far greater power. Consider how a seed begins to germinate deep in the dirt. Even if you cannot see it, it silently extends its roots, ready to develop. Similarly, God starts a process inside you. This is not a transient situation, but rather a preparation for a lifelong spiritual benefit. The time of shortage is utilized to strengthen your faith. Even in the face of uncertainty, you are asked to let yourself go. Even in quiet moments, God's guidance surrounds you. Miracles are born in inner peace. When you sincerely claim the route is yours, God moves. Transform your disappointments into something new. A story is being written in your life about how you will declare God's marvels. Every setback you face is a necessary part of your journey. Abundance and blessings. Prepare to reach a level where you will see God's faithfulness and goodness. Do not give up on the journey. Being here is not a coincidence, but rather an indication of being chosen. You were picked to serve God's particular purposes right before the ultimate victory. Do not abandon this path. Remember that the enemy's biggest fear is not your struggle. These trials will lead to your victory. Nothing can take away the blessings and beauty that God has planned for you. Your independence is intended not only for yourself, but also to reflect God's glory to the world. The difficulties are a preparatory procedure for the steps you will take to God's glory. As a result, commit to this goal with all of your heart, soul, and faith. Trust in God's plan, His provisions, timing, and your place in the divine plan. As you traverse this route at a new level, you will find abundance behind every trial, tear, and prayer. God's constancy and goodness will become clearer to you. This path will help you become a stronger, smarter, and more brave spirit. By following God's perfect timing, you are creating a story in which His miracles work within you and in your life, sharing them with the world. This is not simply a journey. It is a story in which you will see God's splendor and declare His miracles. The chains of economic woes that have long held you back are about to be broken. You are ready to become symbols of your independence. Your financial difficulties are not the end. They are the gateway to a new adventure. Change is on its way, and the breakthrough you've been looking for may be closer than you realize. Remember that God's timing differs from ours. He is planning a series of events that will lead you to freedom. When the time comes, the expected deliverance will be abrupt, unexpected, and obvious. Don't give up. Long periods of waiting are associated with greater grace. God's delay is not rejection, but rather divine preparation. People, places, and chances are gradually taking their positions as celestial portals start to open. God is prepared not just to meet your necessities, but also to shower you with blessings that exceed your wildest aspirations. Challenging financial conditions do not indicate defeat. They serve as the foundation for the manifestation of God's power in your life. This procedure is a canvas on which He will demonstrate His strength and the start of a climb that can only be accomplished via divine intervention. This rise will not only benefit you, but will also be a source of hope for those around you. God's movement will usher in a daybreak of abrupt and irresistible awareness. The chains that bind you and keep you trapped in fear are breaking, and you are being readied for a transition that will forever alter the course of your life. This route is more than just a fight. You've been chosen to shine. With power, efficiency is not an issue. Rather, it is a sign that you will be exalted according to God's unique design. These terrible days will provide you with an opportunity to witness and impart hope, becoming a story in which you declare God's miracles. Prepare to reach a new level in your abundance path, one in which you will attest to God's faithfulness. Do not give up because you have been picked. Do not abandon your route shortly before the victory. The enemy's greatest fear is not your suffering. Your victory will come from within. Nothing can take away the gifts that God has reserved for you. Your independence is not only for yourself, but also to spread God's glory throughout the world. The difficulties are a preparation for the steps you will take to God's glory. Accept this purpose wholeheartedly. Believe with all of your heart, soul, and bravery in God's plan, and walk this route by trusting in His plan, His time, and your new purpose. I am waiting for you. Behind every challenge, tear, and prayer, God's constancy and goodness will become clearer to you. This path will help you become a stronger, smarter, and more brave spirit. By following God's perfect timing, you are creating a story in which His miracles work within you and in your life, sharing them with the world. This is not simply a journey. It is a story in which you will see God's splendor and declare His miracles. The bonds of economic suffering that have long bound you are about to be broken, and you are preparing to become symbols of your freedom. Your financial difficulties are not the end. They are the gateway to a new adventure. Change is on its way, and the breakthrough you've been looking for may be closer than you realize. Remember that God's timing differs from ours. He is planning a series of events that will lead you to freedom. When the time comes, the expected deliverance will be abrupt, unexpected, and obvious. Do not give up. Extended periods of waiting result in deeper grace. God's delay is not rejection, but rather divine preparation. People, places, and possibilities are settling in one by one as celestial portals open. God is not only planning to supply your necessities, but also to shower you with blessings that exceed your wildest hopes on this journey. Your trials will be the very testimony that glorifies God. He is writing your story, demonstrating that even in the darkest valleys, His light shines through your troubles like seeds planted in faith, and in due time, they will blossom fruit beyond anything you could dream. Instead than focusing on what you lack, consider the one who does not lack anything. This period of financial hardship is purifying you, strengthening your resilience, and pulling you closer to His provision. When breakthrough occurs, it will be clear that it was the result of God's intervention alone. Remember that He employs the weak to confuse the strong, and the humble to overthrow the haughty. You may feel insignificant right now, yet He sees you, understands your problems, and is preparing to pull you up at the right time. The world will look at your life and see proof of God's grace, faithfulness, and kindness. Trust that these challenges are developing you and preparing you for the mission He has set for you. Let go of fear, for it merely detracts from the promises He has already made in your life. Continue pushing forward, unwavering in their beliefs. Speak life to your situation. When you provide testimony to God's kindness, you are affirming that He is your supplier and sustainer. You will encourage others to believe, hold on, hope, and realize that nothing is impossible with God. Every need will be supplied, every challenge surmounted, and every promise kept. You are not walking this route alone. His Spirit lives within you, leading, lifting, and preparing you to reflect His majesty in all aspects of your life. You may feel exhausted, but do not let it overtake your spirit. Every adversity you've endured has changed you, strengthened your resilience, and brought you closer to God. These obstacles do not indicate defeat. They are invitations to tap into His strength even more thoroughly. Remember that He does not use the term equipped. He equips the cold. You are being purified in His fire, and each moment of anguish will lead to purpose. What seemed unattainable will soon become a testimonial to His miraculous work in your life. You are being positioned to be a source of hope for others, to share God's love and faithfulness with those who are still seeking their own breakthrough. As you stand on the verge of victory, protect your heart from doubt. God has given you dreams, and He is faithful to see them through to completion. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, even if the trip feels lengthy and uncertain. Every delay is divine, as are every hurdle, opportunity, and disappointment. A portal to something bigger. His timing is impeccable, and his promises never fail. You were picked, not by chance, but via his deliberate purpose. Hold on to his word. Allow it to anchor your soul and trust that he who began a good work in you will see it through.